My name's Bob Salt. My birthday's March 18th, 1947, and I'm born in Vancouver. The fellow that started me in lacrosse, my dad did his plumbing in his house in South Vancouver. I was 8 years old, and I was big for my big 8-year-old, and he said, why don't you bring him down? And my dad was born in New Westminster, so he played field lacrosse in the old days, and yeah, that's how I got introduced to it. Wow. So he played here, and the old Salt House is still on 6th Street. I don't know how I made it in South Van, but I did. So I had to play against Goss and all them. I'd rather have played with them, you know what I mean? Like, I played soccer and played at South Memorial where I played my lacrosse. So that's kind of when as it turns out, I got in the fire department as a soccer player in those days. And then because the lacrosse was so heavy duty, I played Coast League for a while, and then all of a sudden lacrosse kind of took over because we ended up going to a few Mann Cups and the long season and stuff. So that was basically my game, was lacrosse and soccer. That was. Well, it's vision. In soccer, you have to have really good vision. You have to. It's a different fitness level, but it's still a very big team game. So you learn how to, as a young person, rely on the guy beside you all the time. Well, that's like lacrosse. So, but I think basically it's a different fitness. In soccer, you run, but it's skill. It's an eye. You separate with your feet. Lacrosse is with your hands. So it's a great game. I think that one of my biggest influences was a guy named Jack McKinnon, who was had the Burrards and the Carlins, and he got me out to play. Mickey Meslow, who grew me up, he coached me all the way up in soccer and lacrosse, and then he ended up coaching out in Delta. And then Eddie McDonald, and then Peter Black, who coached me and I played with Peter. When I started getting into the coaching in it, I did a lot of stuff that Peter used. I stole it from him. I don't tell him that to this day, but I stole a lot of his stuff. So yeah, it was fun. Well, some of us started to get into it because I was fortunate enough to some of the firemen that I played soccer for, they had some training deals they used to do on their own. Yeah, I used to go out and run on my own and stuff, but I was one of the guys too that you kind of got in shape. There was no training camp. You kind of showed up and we used to always say, well, we'll get in shape. All we got to do is make the playoffs and away we go. That was kind of the attitude. I'm not saying we weren't in very good shape. Took a few games and you're raring to go, but we don't train like the fellas do now, that's for sure. We didn't then. Well, I laugh about it a little bit. When Bobby Marsh, when he first started, it was just more, you go out in 2 laps and shoot the ball, right? And I was a very emotional. I used to get sick quite often before the games because I was well, we're all into it, but I guess I was probably more an emotional than most of the players were, so I got teased a bit by it, but no, there was no one stretch, 2 stretch, and all that. No. I don't remember stretching that much, and that's why probably our bodies are the way they are right now. I always had spaghetti, and that was kind of the carb thing, right? So, and that's the way we were taught, right? And if I knew Wayne was listening to that crap, I'd have stole that tape off him. So anyway, gotta love Wayne Goss. Yeah. Well, I just remember Gordon Fredrickson scored late in the first period to get us out of that one, where it was really close game. And then the last, we won 2 in a row. It was the best of 3 actually, in those days, and we won 2 in a row. And I just remember they had Elmer Tran. They had East always had a good team, and Johnny Davis and them. So, but it was close. It was close. But the last game, I think we won by 4 or 5 goals. So. Well, we had those days we played out of the Forum, which was East Vancouver, which was really the hotbed of lacrosse guys. But they used to move from there, and then we'd go back to Kerrisdale, which is in the west end of town. But the atmosphere there was unreal. They would come from Burnaby. And I mean, those Mann Cups are standing room only. It was so exciting, and it was a lot of the support was unreal, right? But it wasn't just for us, it was just lacrosse people. A lot of the junior fans came because it was a Mann Cup. As soon as it's a Mann Cup Canadian Championship, it changed, right? I don't know if that was the reason more so than, I guess, to beef it up, because Morley Cows had a terrific team. And he was good. And we beat them 4 straight, by the way. And I think Paul Parnell was MVP. Paul could be MVP in any series he ever played, as far as I'm concerned. But Joe Como was absolutely fabulous. And I don't know. I think they were just boosting they were trying to get Gordy, like I said, Fredrickson, and then they needed maybe some offense. We did really well. I played with Kerry Gallagher and Tracy Wright, that's not too bad, and it was fun. We obviously were very close to New West in talent-wise, and earlier that year, Morley Cows and the boys came out to play some games, right? And they won a couple games, but he was yapping at how lacrosse out here wasn't as good as back east and all that stuff. So when you're a lacrosse guy and you love the game, you just put it in the back of your melon. And I thought the Burrards would be playing them, and as it turned out, they beat us in overtime in Game 7. And Doug McClory was coaching the Bellies, and he asked me to play. And I got in a lot of trouble over it because that was unheard of. And I think he asked Gordy Fredrickson too, and Gordy wouldn't. And I said, I'll be there tomorrow night. And that was as simple as that. No, I had more hate on the East, and I still believe that to this day. It's the West against East when you get by that playoff game. And that's like kind of, but that was the old days of the Chisholms, the Barbers and all that. And they didn't think that way. So. They were a fabulous team, and I was so lucky to, and then it was a rebuild, and it took a while to rebuild, but I'm still really good friends with Ronnie Hemmerling, who's now 86. I see Billy Chisholm once in a while, who's 85. He's in a home now, but yeah, they were fabulous. Queen's Park, it was wild. It was, yeah. I think anytime there was a playoff game in Queen's Park, I still get goosebumps sometimes when I watch the boys go out. Now I still go to a lot of the games. That's the place to play lacrosse, the wood floor. That's really exciting, right? I always used to tease Paul and them. He played every second game on the wood floor. We had to go and play on that marble in Kerrisdale. No wonder I got 2 new knees and a few other things, right? I think so. The pounding on the cement, like in Victoria had a cement floor, and especially the marble at Kerrisdale. Well, it was hard on you, but it just had that give, the wood floor, and you can hear the game. It's a great place to play. Well, that's when we had like Ronnie Pinder was going strong, and we had a few guys like that, and he went. Doug and Dougie they're all in their prime, and it was a big, strong team. Ward. We had there was Mike Smith, Billy Rawson. They had a lot of good stuff. Well, when they come out and they said that they were going to do a World's Tournament, they come out with where you set in the league. 1 team from the West, 2 from the East, the Native and the USA. So that's kind of the format was. So then we had to decide, are we going to go for it in the league? Because you had to win first place. Bellies had a very good team, always, So Danny Wilson's and our guys, we decided, yeah, we're going to go for it. So, and we did. And it wasn't an easy thing to do because the East teams were good. The Native team was very, very, we ended up playing them in the final. Danny Wilson got MVP, but it was at the Coliseum. I think there was 8,000 people there. I might be a little wrong on that, but it was fabulous. So, and then that year we lost the Bellies to go to the Mann Cup. The guys were pretty beat up and stuff, and so that was the choice we made. I'm sorry, I never forget Australia. Yes, they did, yeah. They were fabulous. What a group of want to learn this game and more eager and eager, and they were all But now, look at the difference now. I'm sure they're like way better than they were then, right? They had guys on that team, and I don't remember all the. You never seen them again. Like they were very good. That game in the Coliseum could have gone either way. I know Danny Wilson, he definitely rose to that. That's the best I seen Danny take a game over and win it, and he definitely won it for us. There's no doubt. Yeah. I think winning the Mann Cup in '75. I think it was '75 when we won it. Was it '75? Right? Yeah. I think that was a big, because that was exciting and kind of was our team. It wasn't. And the first one when I was on with it, I was a rookie or one, and that was our team kind of thing. The Smiths and Pinders and all of us, and so that was exciting. Not, when you can win a Mann Cup, it's not easy to win. As it's gotten harder and harder the way the East now. At least they rent the players. They may change that a little bit, but we played some awful good teams with a really good lacrosse team, and they were very good. Peterborough and Brampton. We ran into those guys with the Dawsons and all that with that really good senior team. I hadn't, the one they beat us at Queen's Park, it was very unfortunate, but 7 games, we lost all 4 in overtime, so I don't know, you don't get any closer than that. So I was in twice, actually.
Twice, was it?
Yeah, and I forget the exact years, but I'd left, that was the end of Jordy Deans and Stevenson, and those guys were just ending their careers, right? And that was that really good run with Cowison and all them, and I was kind of the end of that. And then I really lucked out when Dan and them got me involved with I class as the really good Bellies team that and that was the likes of the Smiths, the Morgans and Halseys and all those guys, and we played in 3 Mann Cups. So, and then going way back, I coached the junior Bellies, and that was Russ Hurd, Benny Elgies, and all those guys. So I actually had the Bellies quite often. But yeah, my knee was really, my right knee, which I tore up a few years before that, really bad, and we played a couple long series against the Bellies where it just used to swell up, and the doctor had to drain it. So there was a lot of that going on. So it was time to move out, and Sohn Gill had talked to me about coaching in Coquitlam, and Roscoe wanted me. They won it in '77. They wanted me to play 1 more year, and how I felt about that was, I think they would have just packed me for 1 more year, and that's not what it was all about. I thought it was time to move on. So I don't know. I just I really think you build the game through coaching and getting and I had some very good coaching too, and it's just being around the atmosphere and the challenge, and I was really and I was lucky to be a firefighter. I had the 2 days, 2 nights, and 4 off. That really worked out good for me, and I just loved working with them. I mean, I remember when Benny Algies and they were 16 years old, they all come in there, and Tony Malcolm and all those guys. I mean, you see them go all the way through, and Russ Hurd, and I'm so proud of that. And then now I watch Hawkesby still play, and that, and some of the good ones like Craig Conn, he got hurt and never really. I think he only played 1 Mann Cup with us. So, but I was very fortunate to have so many good players. Really lucky. Well, my philosophy kind of was, first of all, you got to have a family, and you got to get these guys together, and you got to have them doing a lot of things together, which certain times is hard to do. And it's easier doing a younger team with Danny Wilson, them, and Coquitlam, because they didn't have the families yet. When they start now, you got to change your thing, but it was more getting the guys together. And then I really believed in practice and practice hard. And I stated this, I don't think the guys practice very much anymore. We practice a lot. My team practiced a lot. And I thought that was one of my keys. And hard work, rewards. That's how you got to outwork the team you're playing against. Got to have a lot of talent too. I know that, but that worth ethic is huge. But it's the hardest thing to. So when teams change, you were asking me about the teams, and I noticed it more with the, the bellies changed because then all of a sudden like the Halsey and all them who have been playing in the NLL, they get jobs out, and then Cliff Smith becomes a policeman, and it goes on, and the Morgans move to Portland. That happens, but in the younger days with Danny Wilson, it's when the families come along. And now you've got, instead of just having us going out and whatever, now that you bring the kids along, and you have to have more picnics, and it's all team thing. And that's how it really changes from a young team to a team that's a veteran team, right? Yeah, I really believe that, and it took it really took a while to get my melon, and not just me, but a lot of the kind of guys that I've talked to, proper, because it is such a whole different game, and the athletes that are playing, the only thing, when I had the bellies, I had really good athletes, and that was the offense, defense, but we did a transition game that was unreal, and I think there should be more transition, and that's only my opinion. And I just like to see them go way more, and Beersy runs down the floor and puts it in the net. That's exciting, right? And no, I think it was a really exciting part of the game, and they changed it. And it wasn't too much fun if you're our guys chasing those two guys around, but it was exciting, right? It was a part of the game. They really took it to town. They really made it the best, eh? And yeah, and so but they changed that too. Yeah, the game changes as we go, I guess, but I just think that the guys could run more, like get out, you got to give the defensive guys enough. They are all great with their sticks, and let them go. And I really think and the fans, they want that. They don't, even to this day, sometimes you run a guys, Salty, why do they run off and run on? I says, well, it's offense, defense. This is fans that really don't know lacrosse very well, obviously, but they still like that when they run up, when they go, like, makes for a big difference, right? I played with a lot of fabulous players, so I always tease this guy named Mike Smith played D. I could do anything. The guy can run like the wind, so I can go and get in corners. I can even stay up the floor, and he just get back. So it was I was very fortunate to come up with the Carlings and the Burrards when there was some really good talent, and then have the competition right across. Of course, where I live, right across here, that was the best years to play against Luthwaite and these guys, and they were fabulous. And then to play with them, that one, it's pretty exciting. Well, I don't know. I think I was just mentioning about the year that we made to go to the field, to go to Australia and play for Canada. And I'd gotten the fire department, and and I didn't have the funds or whatever, and I decided not to go. That was a bad mistake, because I went there in '81 and found how beautiful it was there, and but just to play for Canada, right? And I don't know. I think a lot of times we were very fortunate to be talented, and we took that pretty light. It was a little bit. It was the way that it was the times, though. It was kind of it's party hardy, but you played lacrosse, and maybe a little bit too much partying sometimes. We especially the trips back east, we could have done better, I think, in some places back there. But I'm a lacrosse nut, I guess. I really enjoy watching it. I've changed my attitude watching NIL now, and the athletes are fabulous in the game, but I don't phone Hawksby and tell them why you check one hand on your stick anymore, and I don't the cross check, and it's a whole different. I'm a fan now, and I love it. I love watching it, and I'm just a fan. And it took a while for me just to be a fan. I think Chris Gill said it at Sohn's funeral when he runs into Sohn, and he mentioned me in the thing too, which he put me under the bus a bit. But how all we do is complain about the cross checking. There's no cross checking. There's one hand on the stick, and blah blah blah. And but we quit. I'm a fan now, and I so hope it goes. And it looks like they're doing pretty good. I know it's going to take time. Patience is the key word, I guess. But no, I really like watching.